Education. Some are still in this field, and others left this field a long time ago. But we all have our fair share in education, and we all know that we have a history in education, and the question of why we learn the way we do. Why was cursive writing so important back in the day? How did something like the Rubik's Cube end up in classrooms? And most importantly, what does the future of education look like? Get ready for a journey through time as we uncover the hidden history of education, its weirdest rules, forgotten traditions, and surprising impact on the world. Let's talk about something that many of us remember struggling with in school: cursive writing. Even though it might look like some shit that Beethoven has written, or the average doctor's handwriting, it's very bad. However, if you went to school before the 2010s, chances are you had to learn it. Back in the 1700s and 1800s, cursive was taught because it was faster and more efficient than print. Before typewriters, cursive was the best way to write quickly and neatly, making it the standard for business, legal documents, and even personal letters. Fast forward to the 20th century, and cursive became mandatory in schools. In the US, for example, the Palmer method was introduced in the early 1900s, and it feels so elegant and royal for no reason whatsoever. This strict handwriting system required students to practice perfect flowing letters, often with arm movements instead of just fingers. Why? Because it was believed to improve discipline, cognitive development, and even character. Yup, your handwriting was supposed to reflect how good of a person you were. But here's the twist: by the early 2000s, cursive started disappearing from schools. Why? Technology. With the rise of keyboards, digital note-taking, and texting, cursive was no longer a necessity. In 2010, the Common Core standards in the US removed the cursive requirement, and suddenly, an entire skill that had been mandatory for centuries became optional. So, was dropping cursive a mistake? Should we bring it back like some OG Fortnite? Now let's talk about a school trend that started as a toy, but ended up being a powerful learning tool: the Rubik's Cube. You might know it as that colorful puzzle that seems impossible to solve. But believe it or not, teachers have been using it to teach math, problem solving, and even computer science for decades. First, a quick history lesson. Rubik's Cube was invented in 1974 by Hungarian architect Rubik, who used it to help his students understand 3D geometry. At first, it wasn't meant to be a toy, it was just a teaching tool. He said, "Yo, this is for your homework," and the students said,
"We don't care."
However, once it hit stores in the 1980s, it became a worldwide sensation. As colors were added, people started solving them in under 3 seconds. Now, here's where things get interesting. Educators realized that solving a Rubik's Cube wasn't just a fun challenge. It trained the brain in pattern recognition, logic, and spatial reasoning. Schools started using it to teach group theory, a branch of mathematics that deals with permutations and algorithms. Even today, coding and AI research use Rubik's Cube solving algorithms as
boring.
So, next time you see someone solving one in under 10 seconds, know they're basically doing high-level math in their head. That's why Rubik's Cubes were another symbol of being smart. Now, here's a part of education that's honestly kinda wild when you look back at its school punishments. Before vapes were getting confiscated, kids back in the day were getting straight up whooped for chewing gum. Teachers had all sorts of discipline tools, from wooden paddles to something called the dunce cap, to some other materials used in, let's say, intimate activities. Today, of course, things have changed. Discipline is more focused on positive behavior, But it's still funny how wild teachers were allowed to get back then, spanking kids whether they liked it or screamed, "Daddy." From strict cursive writing drills to Rubik's cubes as secret math teachers, bizarre punishments has changed more than we realize. I mean, surely this is the worst, right? Right?